Nintendo GameCube has gotten a whole lot of positive press since Space World a few weeks ago, and I hope you've all had a chance to sign on Nintendo.com to see the pictures that were sent live simulcast type way to here so that we could post them on the internet site for all of you to see. We have with us today the Nintendo Technology Development Team, and that's NTD. NTD has spent the last 3.5 years developing Nintendo GameCube. They're the ones who have driven the design of the system and the controller that you're seeing today. Not only that, they worked with all of our technology partners around the world, including the research division at NCL, and their focus and goal was to make sure that the GameCube was the ultimate gaming machine when it came out. And I think that when you see the demos today, you're going to see they actually achieved that result. This group is also the group who codes all the libraries, or basically the development kit, that goes out to our developers. So what these guys are doing now that kind of GameCube is out in terms of the public's knowledge of it, they're working on developing and fine-tuning those development kits, as well as kind of looking towards the future. If you can believe it, they're already starting to work on our next generation system. So these are really the brains behind Nintendo here. We have with us the software engineers from NTD, and we have John, who's going to do the presentation today, and next to him, Tien, over here, and what was your, Mike? Mike, over here, and I think Eugene. Oh, there's a new person. I haven't met you yet today. All right, welcome. That's right. So I'm going to turn over the mic to them, and they're going to show off Nintendo GameCube for you.
Great, thanks, Shelly. So as Shelly said, my name's John Cho, and I'm a software engineer over at NTD. And over here is Tian Lim, another software engineer, and he's helping me run side on these demos, so thank him as well. I know that there's also Mike over there is an artist at NTD, and behind him is Carl, who's in charge of the graphics at NTD. So even though we're in the corner of the building, I know we're super psyched about the GameCube, and we're kind of obscure, but we want to see some of your enthusiasm because we're sort of isolated. So are you guys excited to be the privileged few to see this GameCube finally? All right, cool. So I know that we learned a lot of lessons from N64. I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking of the whole team. And there was a lot of lessons to be learned from N64. And one of the ways that our team kind of fostered and helped try to fix that problem was to talk to a lot of developers and a lot of technology partners and try to work with them. One of the goals of the system being that the GameCube is going to be very easy to develop for. And we know that with history, history shows us that the success of a console is not just based on the technical merits, but based on the efforts of everyone, right, including marketing, PR, developer support, customer service, everyone. So, we're going to see where the GameCube goes. I know we're really excited on the technical end, but hopefully you guys will all chip in a little bit to see the success of GameCube in the future. So, with that, let's show us. We're going to show you the first demo. Oh, the plastic. I show you the plastic. You guys are excited to see the plastic. Okay. So, right here in my hand is the GameCube. And this here is the prototype, and it's not actually real working hardware, but everything, all the components in here, all the components are in here that are necessary to make the GameCube. So the weight of the system, this is about what's going to feel like in terms of weight. You can see that it actually functions, it actually opens. Being a prototype, the open button is a little sticky. A couple of things need to be worked out here and there. You'll also see that inside is the media. It's like the 3 centimeter, DVD technology. And I'll go ahead and pass this around. But the great thing about having this proprietary media is that it prevents a lot of piracy. So that's one of the reasons why I went with this. Here you go. Pass that around. Okay. So the GameCube, you can see that has four controller ports, 2 expansion slots, digicard slots here in the front. And in the back, you can see it has a digital output for Japan and analog outputs. And on the bottom, you'll see that there are a bunch of expansion slots. One being for the modem, and the other one being a high-speed port, and another serial port, which is still kind of to be determined. But anyways, you can kind of get a feel for the system by kind of passing it around, taking a look at it. But please note that everything you see here is not finalized, and it's not going to be finalized until you actually see it on the shelf. So things are actually still subject to change. Okay. What I hold in my hand here is another industrial prototype of the controller, and you'll see that it kind of looks odd in the beginning, but you can get a really good feel for how it actually feels in your hand and whatnot. But I know Mr. Miyamoto, when he designed this controller, wanted a controller with one analog stick and one button. But fortunately, you don't play games with just one stick and one button. So fortunately, we convinced him to add a little more. So you can see that there's an analog stick here that's well positioned with your thumb, very large, very comfortable, very easy compared to the N64. You see that there's a very large A button here in the middle, and it's also very easy to hit the other buttons surrounding the A button here. So there's no confusion about which buttons you hit, and it's very easy to hit them at the same time. So it's easy to do combos or whatnot. On here, you'll see that there's a camera stick button, another sub-analog stick, a directional pad, and on the top, you'll see a digital Z trigger. It's on the right side, and on these two here are the shoulder buttons. And this is a mock-up with foam inside. It doesn't actually work, but here's a working prototype, and you can see how much the triggers travel. And that's going to be nice for racing games, for acceleration, braking, whatnot. So you can get a feel for that as well. Okay. So this is a mock-up with the controller. Now, one of the things, it's just a prototype, as I said before, so there's still things to be worked out, such as the length of the handles. It might feel a little weird in American hands because we have a lot bigger hands than Asians do. So I think that's kind of a prototype, but we're still trying to work out the details in terms of exactly how it's going to feel, how exactly it's going to look. Okay? All right. So finally, let's move on to demos and see one of the demos that we actually did here over at NTD. The purpose of this demo was actually to try to make a Japanese game developer, actually starting with N, to be very jealous and very jealous about our console and to want to develop for it very badly. So we're going to show you the car demo here. Is it running? All right, and you'll notice that looks very nice. The audio that you hear is real audio from the Gamecube, from the system here. So you'll notice that there's a lot of detail in these cars here, and I'll point that out by showing you some of the details. You can see the Ferrari horse on the back of the car, exhaust pipes, Ferrari on the front, Ferrari logo you can actually see and read if you zoom up in here. See it pretty nicely. I think these cars have brake pads, nicely modeled rims, thanks to Mike. There's also stick shift, steering wheel, pedals, an engine in here, from the modeled engine. So it's a very nice looking car. Okay. But that's not the only car we decided to model at NTD. We also have a Formula One race car. And the nice thing about this model is that we can actually see some of the detail. If we come up close, some of the detail in the textures. And so a lot of the N64 blurriness of textures is gone with the Gamecube. You can move up and you can see some of these textures in here. So it looks very nice. Okay. And another model that we had, decided to add some American muscle in here, is a Dodge Viper. And again, we had so much polygons to spare that we decided to put a spare tire in the back. Right? You can see the chrome, the reflection, whatnot. The interior is nicely well done, thanks to Mike. So we showed this to Miyamoto for the Space World demos, and he said, okay, that's all nice, and you can show one car, and that's great. But for a racing game, you don't just race one car, right? You race against competitors and other cars. So we decided to actually put more cars in than those three that you've seen. So put 3 in at the same time. They all look just and good, very nice. 3 is nice, but I think a racing game has a little more, so we could probably put 5 up at the same time. Well, going for 5, probably doesn't, we could probably do more than 5, so we can probably do 8. Show you some more cars here. And since we just had some more performance kicking around, we decided to add up a little more and had 12 up here. So that really shows you the power of the Gamecube and how well it can look. So how good does the Gamecube look compared to some of the consoles out there? Well, we decided to take a demo reel of the PlayStation 2, Ridge Racer 5, and compare that against what we have at Gamecube here. So slow the rotation down a bit. Thanks. All right. So I think immediately you guys can see the differences here. I think one of the things that pops out the most, I'm not sure if you guys in the back can see it, but on the hood or the lettering on top of the hood is very jaggy, very shimmery, very flickery, and it's kind of very disturbing to the eye. You know, you can see the stair stepping, the aliasing going on there, and it's just sort of hideous to look at. I mean, it's nice, but you know, you kind of when you actually put the pictures side by side, you can see the quality differences and the things that you guys can really nitpick at. And it's not like we actually chose the best looking car in New Jersey 5, so the smoothest one. So that's PlayStation 2, and I think really when you put it up side by side, it really speaks for itself. So let me show you the model of the Formula 1 racer, and you can see this one has a lot more texture definition than the Ferrari, but you can see that the textures, the lettering on here, they don't flicker, they don't shimmer. You have full scene anti-aliasing here, and it looks very smooth, all at 60 frames per second. So I think really this demo shows a lot about the power of Gamecube. Cool. Okay, so that's the car demo that we did over at NTD, and actually was done by one programmer, one artist, and done in a couple weeks. That actually probably could have been done in about a week. So Gamecube is actually very easy to develop for. And another testament to that is a Rebirth demo that we have. The Rebirth demo is done by Mixcore, a group of programmers and artists in Osaka, Japan. And you might have seen some of the still shots on the web, but this is all running in real time here. You can see Woody here. This is all actually a full motion video sequence that was ported to the Gamecube real time. So this is running real time and not on a full motion video. You can see the texture definition. You see the wood here. You can just see the leaves in the background. The amount of detail, you can see the individual strands of grass. That's all geometry. This is all geometry that was out here. So there's an extremely large amount of detail, and you'll see that in all of our demos. So Mixcore did a really great job, but I think the most outstanding thing about this demo is it looks great, but you know what? It was actually done in 2 days. The port was done in 2 days by NCL's Gamecube team. So it's really another testament to the fact that Gamecube is really easy to design for, as opposed to N64. So there are a lot of lessons learned and a lot of lessons that we hope will help us to be more competitive in the future. So we have another cutscene, cutscene 2, and you can see some more detail here as well. Okay, yeah, you can just see the geometry. Yep, the fog here is actually used not to hide geometry, but for effect. So you can see all the leaves are in the back are modeled very nicely. The squirrel is soft-skinned. So there's a crap load of textures here that I don't think another console might be able to accomplish. But this is actually done in real time. A lot of people confuse this and say, "Oh my God, it looks like a full motion video," but it's running right here. So it's kind of cool that you guys are the select few to be able to see some of these things right here. So, okay, that's great. Okay, the next thing we're going to show you is actually a full motion video clip from Silicon Knights, which is actually a second party to Nintendo. And because the Gamecube is now on a disc system and as opposed to a cartridge system, we can actually be able to have full motion video sequences with good audio and good visual video. So we're going to show you a clip that shows you the capabilities that Gamecube can do in that kind of area. So this is a clip from Too Human.
We are graced by the presence of Proteus Psi. His contribution and sacrifice will exceed the forefathers. much to consider.
Hopefully it won't take too long. But okay. All right, so we have only 2 more demos for you left, but these are kind of like the grand finale, and they're done by Factor 5. And I'm just going to say a disclaimer in the sense that what you're about to see doesn't mean that it's actually a game in the works. It's just a demo, and you guys should just take it as that. It's just a demo, okay? So let's go ahead and dim the lights. We'll go and run it through one time, and then we'll run it a second time with some comments. So.
Always report in. Red 6 standing by. Red 7 standing by. Red 3 standing by. Red 6 standing by. Red 9 standing by. Red 2 standing by. Red 11 standing by. Red 5 standing by. Lock in forward attack position.
Okay, what do you guys think? Come on, see you more. Okay, we're going to run through this clip one more time with some comments, and you guys are going to be really impressed by what you see with some comments. The first thing you guys should note is that the X-Wing that you see in the center of the screen when it pans out to it is that model is actually the real Industrial Light and Magic model used in the Star Wars, the Saga Continues, the Return. What's it? The special edition. Okay, there we go. So it's actually the real X-Wing used in the special edition, and it was just plopped right into the GameCube, and no problem, just easy to port, easy to render. So that's a really big testament to that. The audio that you heard is just audio that is being produced by GameCube. Everything that you hear, the surround that you hear is all GameCube. So I think we're gonna have really high quality audio as well on here. The next scene with the TIE fighters, that's about 70 TIE fighters coming right at you. Again, there's just so much to see on the GameCube. Let me go ahead and run it through one more time. I think this clip was done by 1 programmer and 5 artists. The first X-Wing took 2 days to put up onto the screen, and the rest just took like a week. So again, the whole point of this, as opposed to PS2, is that it's very easy to develop for, and we're catering this machine to developers. Okay, notice the pilot and the R2-D2 model. You guys know the Raven model from the Xbox demos? It's the girl doing some karate demos. If you've seen her, this pilot inside this X-Wing has more polygons. It's about 4,900 polygons than the Raven. So I think that's always kind of a nice gratuitous use of polygons to see on the GameCube. But I think Factor 5 did a nice job on this demo. Okay, the next one again was brought up very quickly on GameCube. There you go. Just grab it here. And just, run around, shoot things. There's I think how many TIE fighters? There are 75 TIE fighters in the scene running around. Yeah. Yeah, you can shoot the towers, you can shoot the TIE fighters. There's also some X-Wings and A-Wings, Y-Wings in the scene to help you out. So.